Hi there, welcome to Terrorland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Virgo energy. And like usual, we're going to do two rows. The top row I refer to as high vibe Virgo energy. The bottom row, a more worldly, shadowy Virgo energy. Because we all have free will and we have to make decisions in our life. So, at the bottom row can represent kind of our fears and our insecurities and wanting to stay in our comfort zone. The top row can be how we are moving forward, how we want to continue to move forward. So some people are moving forward a little differently than they had been in the past, and they kind of have to battle within themselves not to go repeat some of those old patterns, and kind of indulge themselves in their more shadowy nature, which can be our lust and our greed and our pride and our ego and our codependency and our laziness and wanting to feel better, taking the thinking short-term gratification in a way. But high vibe people stay focused on the long term. They've already been there. They've already done that. They already knew there was something they didn't like about it, so they're moving forward in life differently. Well, other people might still be battling about moving forward in life a little differently, having a little more hope and faith and belief in themselves and in their dreams and in love. And and we choose to move forward in life a little differently. Some people in our life won't like it because we have different people. We have our dualistic nature, and then we're dealing with other people in their dualistic nature. And at one time, we kind of were on the same page. We could have had similar fears or heartbreak. We could have had certain viewpoints in life. And when you kind of work through some of the issues that manipulated you, that had you in that energy, whatever it was, you're kind of not the same person anymore. You view life just a little bit differently. And then some of the people in your life don't like it. Okay, so let's go see. In the bottom row, we start out, the reason for the reading is the moon, which is Pisces energy, which can represent our fears. We're not seeing things clearly. Oh, underneath the moon is heartbreak. For some people, they were dealing with a Libra, but it could have just been that, we've all dealt with situations where we were kind of heartbroken, right? And then underneath that is the Five of Wands. It causes us inner conflict. So we start out with the Seven of Pentacles, the Page of Swords, the Two of Swords not showing itself, and the Hangman. The Hangman is also Pisces energy. So kind of the interesting thing is Virgo and Pisces are on opposite signs of the zodiac wheel, and will either kind of be more, life is about going off on these journeys, and we'll kind of be more aligned a little bit more in our Pisces energy maybe than our Virgo energy, because Virgo is about learning lessons, and it's about getting more balance between our Pisces and our Virgo nature. Pisces can talk about our emotional nature and the dreams that we have and listening to our intuition. But shadowy Pisces can be and shadowy Virgo is kind of, we're caught up in the illusion of the world. There's these things that we want to manifest and these things that we want to have work out the way we want. And sometimes we don't listen to our intuition. And sometimes we let our heart run our life, and we're not, again, just that we maybe have some lessons to learn, or we don't kind of see that we're repeating an old pattern, but we don't want to see the truth of it. So the moon card can talk about the fact it's different than the sun, which can be about being illuminated to the truth. And sometimes we don't want to see the truth, because maybe if we were to see the truth and speak the truth in the Three of Swords about what we do think is just and fair, the Three of Swords, Libra energy represented by the scales of justice, maybe that would cause conflict and fighting. So everybody in whatever situations they're in are kind of listening maybe to their intuition, and even trying to work through their fears and insecurities and their past pain and heartbreak and their ego nature and their conflicted nature and all of that stuff to get ready to speak their truth about something that bothers them. And in the Seven of Pentacles, it can talk about really considering kind of what action you want to take. And some people, because they're not listening to like their truth in the Page of Swords, because they have these fears that kind of make them focus more on that, and that's lessons we got to learn. When do I listen to my own truth and stand up for my truth? And so some people right now are still, some things are, for some people that are going to stay in this energy, there's things that kind of cloud their judgment. And then they decide, I'm not going, the Two of Swords can talk about listening to your intuition. I'm not going to listen to my intuition. I have fear of these things. I have fear of being heartbroken. I have fear of change. The Fives can talk about change. I have fear of change. I have fear of speaking my truth, because then things will change and other people might not like it. And so maybe I'll just keep investing in what I have been investing in, and I don't have to listen to my truth. I don't have to deal with the truth. The Hangman can be about dealing with the truth, being illuminated to the truth. And so it kind of keeps us stuck. And shadowy Hangman can be that we're kind of operating from our ego. Out of our fear, insecurity, we could hope, no, I could be dealing with some people. Some things could be going on that I'm not sure if I really think this is just and fair. I might feel like they're defensive to being more authentic or truthful. But if I maybe keep trying to push it, maybe it will get them in more defensive energy, and maybe it'll cause all this conflict and fighting. So then we don't speak our truth, and we could just decide we're just going to keep moving forward the way we've been moving forward. Well, the truth sets us free. And, when we're ready to deal with the truth, we'll deal with the truth. But you have to, the Two of Swords also, kind of like the Two of Pentacles up here, you have to kind of get balance within yourself. We have these things of the world that we want. We want to be in friendship and relationship and have a job, maybe, if that's where you're at in life. But we also have our more hopeful, believing, loving nature. Are we kind of staying in denial that we're shadowy energy? Can be that we're kind of tipped a little out of balance, but we don't want to see the truth of it. We might feel stuck. We might feel like we're in a more codependent relationship. We could feel that people aren't being really maybe more authentic or loving or warm or encouraging, that they could be kind of defensive or immature or competitive or stubborn or prideful. And, are we willing to speak our truth or are we not? And, when people are ready to speak their truth, they will. If they're not, they're not. And some people that we could have had in our life, we could have realized that they don't even want to get more balanced. They reject being balanced because they might like to live more from their mind than their heart. And the truth is that they are more aligned with the competition. You have your dualistic nature. You're either more aligned with aligning with your hopeful, believing, loving nature, or you're kind of more aligned with, no, not that. And maybe I don't want the Five of Wands and Leo energy. Maybe I don't want to work through my inner conflict. Maybe I don't want to work through my past pain and heartbreak. Maybe I don't want to listen to my intuition. Maybe I do want to operate more from pride and ego. Maybe I am more caught up in the illusion of myself, that it should be just more about me, or it should be tipped in my favor when I get in relationships with people. Or maybe I'm just more caught up in the world, caught up in the illusion of the world. That's the most important thing. If I go indulge in these things, that's the answer. That'll make me happy. I don't got to do love, or I'll make my life more about me. And if it's more about me, I'm sure I'll be happy. I don't have to do love. Love is supposed to be just and fair. It's supposed to be balanced. You're supposed to treat other people the way you like to be treated. You are supposed to maintain balance within yourself, be enlightened to the truth, and choose to take action more from love and treat other people the way you like to be treated. And we have to realize there's some people in the world that are like, nope, that's not my truth. I don't want to see the truth. That's not my truth. And that's fine. The moon would just say, they're going to go on their journey, investing in the things that they think will make them happy. Pisces energy can talk about how we're kind of indulging ourselves in our illusions. I don't really have to do love. I think I can just create an illusion. I'll get in a relationship with someone, create the illusion that I'm more just, fair, stable, grounded, loving than I really am. And I'll just juggle the truth that either that I really am more about me or these things of the world, and that's why I want to be in a relationship, or I don't really want to do equal give and take, but I'll try to. And I don't want to do love, and I don't really want to be just and fair, but I'll try to maintain balance in a relationship with you so that you'll keep staying in a relationship with me. Or that I am more competitive, prideful, egotistical, have a lot of inner conflict I don't deal with. When things happen that cause someone some heartbreak and some inner conflict, instead of listening to their intuition, they get the idea, I know, I'm going to shadowy energy. If high vibe energy is being like in the sun, I am being authentic. I have learned lessons in life. In high vibe Virgo Pisces, I am motivated by truth and love, and I've grown and matured myself, and I'm going to work with you cooperatively in truth and love. Speak my truth. And some people are like, I have inner conflict with all of that. I'm just shadowy energy. I'm going to try to manipulate you to either get you to go or get you to do things the way I want. And that would be the Seven of Pentacles is Taurus energy, people's philosophy of life, of what their truth is and how they view the world and what they kind of think is just and fair. And for some people, if they juggle people and they don't really more authentically invest in people, yeah, they don't want people to know the truth. If the Two of Pentacles is the reason why the top row came out, the shadowy Two of Pentacles can be where kind of people are two-faced. I present myself as being this type of person, but really I'm this type of person. Oh shit, I don't want to tell you the truth. There might be things that happened in my past that I don't want to reveal the truth about. Because if I were to tell you the truth, that maybe I did try to manipulate someone. Maybe I did get caught up in my fear and my insecurity, and maybe I did take immature action. Maybe I didn't listen to my intuition, and maybe I took action more out of pride and ego. Shadowy Hangman can be that people are very stubborn. I refuse. I don't care if I feel stuck. Refuse to look at life from any other perspective. And that can be shadowy Taurus energy of a philosophy of life. I have my way of viewing life. That's the way it should be done. I don't have to change. I don't have to deal with my pain and heartbreak and my ego nature and my competitive nature that I might keep buried beneath the surface. And they could have gotten in relationships with people who did want to work together with them in truth and love. And some of the people they were in relationship with did listen to their intuition. They didn't realize that some of the people they were in relationship with aren't as conflicted, aren't as manipulated by the past, by their fear, by their past pain, heartbreak, by their competitive nature. They do kind of invest in loving themselves and listening to their intuition instead of getting more caught up in their head and their fear and their insecurity and all those things. And they didn't realize that about some of the people they were in a relationship with. And those people kind of saw through the illusion. They harness their Pisces energy differently. They harness their Virgo energy different, their Libra energy, their Taurus energy, their Leo energy, their Aries or their Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius energy differently. How they view life. And some people already did kind of act in some more immature or shadowy or prideful or stubborn or were heartbroken or conflicted or whatever. And some other people in their life already were illuminated to the truth. Well, now some of those people could be trying to invest in someone new and create a new illusion, trying to get them in Taurus energy to view them as maybe a more stable, grounded, mature person than they really are. Kind of trying behind their back, hiding the truth that they're defensive, and maybe even just want to get in a relationship and create an illusion because they feel stuck, and they're taking action more out of pride and ego. We have all been heartbroken. We have all been confused. Well, some people do the inner work, doing the shadow work. They look at why didn't that work out the way I wanted? They're willing to see the truth about themselves. They're willing to deal with the truth of other people. Some people put in work and effort, and we start out up here with the Page of Pentacles, which can be, I did the work to get to the truth. And some people do that work within themselves in their own shadowy, worldly nature. I want to move forward in life. I want to move forward feeling more balanced, being in relationships that are more balanced. The Two of Pentacles is Capricorn energy. Shadowy Capricorn is represented by the devil, which can be like the illusion and the fear and all those things, and the heartbreak and the inner conflict and the competitive nature and the prideful nature and the stubborn nature and the codependent energy and the immature energy. High vibe people don't like those things manipulating them, or other people in that energy manipulating them. And when things aren't working out the way that seems to be just and fair and aligned with truth and love and balance, they try to figure out why. And they do this work to love themselves and probably communicate their truth to the people that they're in relationships with, that, something here doesn't seem just and fair. It seems like there's maybe the way that we might want to take action and moving forward, because the Five of Wands comes after the Four of Wands, which can be coming together with people in a foundation. This is my truth, and I thought we were going to move forward like this, because if you have a foundation of the Four of Wands, then in the Five of Wands, you kind of move forward and take some more different action. You kind of move forward in something. And some people could be in a relationship where one person does kind of want to move forward in life a little differently, and the other person's like, And some of the people are going to listen to their intuition. Some of the more shadowy people kind of hope that the people they're in a relationship with won't listen to their intuition, because they tend to not listen to their intuition, and they tend to make decisions more out of fear and insecurity and pride and ego and codependency. But some of the people in their life are going to listen to their intuition. And to go from the Two of Swords to the Three of Swords, we get enlightened to the truth, and that's the next sword. I see the truth. You seem to be defensive about maybe being more authentic, working through your fears or your insecurities or your past pain and heartbreak, or maybe willing to look at life from a different perspective, or work together with people more cooperatively. You know, if we're going to be in relationships with people, they have their truth and their dreams and their aspirations, and we have our truth and our dreams and our aspirations. And it should be that they're equally taken into consideration. And we work together because we're working together with someone else. And some people are like, I don't know if I want to do that. So the sevens can be that people are more tipped, and in shadowy worldly energy, they're kind of more tipped in their philosophy of life, kind of what they think is just and fair, and how they view themselves and others and relationships, is that I think it should be a little bit more about me. And if I am kind of immature, well, I indulge my immature nature. If I am kind of more stubborn and prideful, I indulge that within myself. You should indulge that within me. If I do like to live more from my mind than my heart, and I have a lot of inner conflict, or I am competitive, I indulge that way of being within myself. And I think you should indulge that way of being within me. And some people are like, no, I can't do that. You know, I might be sad, I might be heartbroken, I might be conflicted, but if you don't want to work through whatever these different things are that manipulate you, these things within yourself that apparently you think are just and fair, or friends or family or things you invest your time and energy and effort into that stop you from being able to move forward in a more balanced way, or a more just and fair way, or a more loving way, well, until you work through those things, I have been enlightened to the truth that because we have free will to choose what action we're going to take. Are we going to be willing? The page of Pentacles talks about willing to be a student of life. The bottom row can just represent our ego nature, our defensive nature. Am I willing to get out of my ego and admit maybe I don't know everything? Maybe I had lessons to learn. I think life is all about learning lessons. You know, we live our life a certain way. Not everything works out the way we want. Are we willing to deal with the truth of it? Where do I need to maybe look at life a little differently? What about the people I was in relationship with? I can like people or love people, and they don't want to be in a relationship or a friendship with me. Are we willing to accept the truth of that? Some people just have a really hard time accepting the truth of that. No, no, no. No, I am sure, one day they'll change. One day they'll work through their issues, and one day they'll want to do the relationship with me the way I want to do it. If other people are where they're at, thinking, feeling, viewing life, whatever way they think, feel, and view life, if we can let it keep us stuck, okay? And shadowy energy at the big picture is represented by the devil, right? High vibe energy at the big picture is represented by God, wants to give birth to new things. Sometimes the devil, which our shadow nature is kind of represented by the devil, our fear, our insecurity, our lust, our greed, our pride, our ego. Sometimes, if the devil can't stop us and manipulate us more in our pride, our ego, our lust, our greed, our fear, or insecurity, or whatever, the devil will work on other people in our life. Well, I might not be able to tempt you, but maybe I can tempt them. And it kind of, God, I think, would say, it does cause you mental conflict and inner conflict and heartbreak, and it kind of gets you in your ego. but it kind of is trying to illuminate you to the truth that you are ready to move forward in life a little differently. And some of the people in your life got caught up and got caught up in the illusion of these things that they have to go on this journey to learn these lessons about. And they might be lessons that you've already learned lessons about. From the Seven of Pentacles to the One Pentacle is letting go of the Six of Pentacles, which again is Taurus energy, that we had this way of viewing life. And some people have a harder time letting go of either a stage of life or a way of viewing life, or these ways of viewing that they think are just and fair, which could just be more caught up in thinking it should be more about them. And they have inner conflict of letting go of that philosophy of life to do more equal give and take. And therefore, then they could be kind of heartbroken too that, somehow you work through your issues, that you're ready to move forward in life differently. And they want to be in a relationship with people who still are in heartbreak, who are still conflicted, or people who are more caught up in the illusion of the world. Or if they were someone who presented them as a more just, fair, stable, grounded person, and you found out they weren't, they're going to go find someone else who will be caught up in the illusion of who they are, because they don't want to deal with these issues within themselves, to free themselves from kind of living a life of illusion. And high vibe energy and high vibe Virgo is being independent, knowing your worth and value, learning these lessons in life, working through these things that manipulate you to live your more authentic life from love. I'm going to go out in the world. I'm going to offer people truth and love. And the page is just simple, just how you get along with people. I've been enlightened to the truth. I've worked through some of my issues that used to manipulate me. I'm more balanced within myself. I know there's some ways of living life and ways of viewing life and ways of viewing myself and being more caught up in myself or the world or my fear or my codependency. And I already did that and I didn't like it. So I picked up my investment in it. And it's like, I don't want to live my life like that anymore. And now I'm doing this work to maintain balance within myself, defending in the Knight of Swords, which is Gemini energy about our dualistic nature. I align with investing in my own inner child, hopeful, believing, loving nature of Pisces. Do I want some of these things of the world in my Virgo nature? Yes. Am I willing to ignore my more hopeful, believing, loving nature in order to have those things of the world? No. They're equally important. And then the water signs offset the earth sign energies. High vibe people in their worldly nature of self, in their Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus energy, we all have those traits and characteristics within us. In all three of their earth sign energies, they are willing to invest in truth and love, because high vibe Gemini is aligning with truth and love. They're equally important. Yes, I want these things in the world. I'm not willing to sacrifice my dreams and deep, meaningful relationships and love more for those things of the world, or out of my defensiveness, or out of my fear, or out of my past pain and heartbreak. I have worked through those things. I did this work within myself to get to the truth, to free myself from things that used to keep me stuck. And I've seen that some of the people in my life don't want to move forward with me in that way. The pages are a simple message, like, I wish you peace. But your truth is different than my truth. I think you still have some things that kind of manipulate you that you might not want to deal with the truth of. And I worked through some of those things that manipulated me. And I do look at life differently. And I am inspired to move forward in life differently. And we've all been there. We've all been the more immature, codependent, in our pain, in our heartbreak. And we had other people in our life that were sad that we were caught up in that. And those people, like, well, pumpkin, you're going to have to go on that journey just like the rest of us did. But I'm going to keep moving forward. I can't stay in the muck with you. I've already been there and done that. You know, you're going to have to go on this journey to learn some of these lessons just like the rest of us did. And you'll either get enlightened to the truth and you'll work through some of those issues that manipulate you, or you won't. And some of the people who did, they worked through some of those issues. They wished some of their people in their life peace, and they moved on. And they got out also of their ego. I'm a fallible human being. I had lessons to learn. And they go make that gesture to people in their life. I had some growing and learning and maturing to do. I had some past pain and heartbreak, some whatever, you know, these ways maybe I hadn't learned to love myself. I was looking out to the world to validate my worth and value and love me. I didn't know how to maybe be in more just and fair and balanced relationships. The high vibe people get out of their ego about it, and they're willing to tell people their truth about the lessons that they learned. Oh, and now that we're kind of up in the top row, I'd noticed it when I was shuffling out the cards. We have a card behind the Wheel of Fortune, and it's the Tower card, which can mean, you know, high vibe people, the Wheel of Fortune can be that willing to more go with the flow of the universe. Part of going with the flow of the universe is that we do go through these stages of life to learn these lessons. If we're willing to listen to our intuition, deal with the truth, get balance more between our mind and our heart, and see how our worldly nature kind of battles and fights with us. And, you know, it's to our more shadowy nature is either in the driver's seat of our life, or our more loving nature is more in the driver's seat of our life. And high vibe people decided, I want my more high vibe nature to be in the driver's seat of my life. And I offer truth and love to my more worldly nature that does have its fears and its insecurities and its defensiveness. But it's like my own fearful nature that I offer truth and love and encouragement to. It is like being a good mother, father, coach voice to yourself. I can't get rid of my more worldly nature, which is what the earth sign energy within ourself can represent. It is a part of us. We are a human being who lives on the planet in a world where we have free will, and there we live in a world of duality where we have free will choice. I make in my Gemini energy the free will choice to offer truth and love to myself, to move forward and maintain balance within myself, offset my fears and my insecurities and my competitive nature and all those things with truth and love, to keep letting truth and love guide me. And that's how people work through this. And then they're harnessing their Pisces, their Libra, their Leo, their ego nature. You know, their balance between their ego nature and their more emotionally intuitive hope and faith and belief in their dreams. And some people are tipped out of balance, though. And they're like, no, no, no. You know, because again, it can be, I don't have to love me. Like, that's not my job. I might have a certain status or image, or I go get in relationships with people. That's their job. Because that could be their truth and their philosophy of life, of how they view relationships. No, I don't have to do that work within myself. Other people can look to other people to get in a relationship with, like you are to be the answer to my problems. I do have these fears, these insecurities, whatever. But instead of like growing myself up and offering and investing in myself to love and believe in myself and work through some of these issues, I look to you like some people could look to drugs or alcohol to be the answer to their problems. And then they get in a relationship with people and they think that oh, being in a relationship with that person, that's the answer. That's going to take care of all my problems. People can be loving and encouraging and supportive, not fight with you, not be competitive with you, listen to their intuition, be loving to you. But if you still haven't dealt with your issues within yourself, those issues are still there, buried beneath the surface. And as they try to kind of probably move forward with some people who are maybe more balanced and more just and fair and loving and nurturing and authentic, it can kind of get them in their ego. Well, why are you in that energy? You know? Why don't you seem to be manipulated by the things that I'm manipulated by? And then again, kind of not wanting to deal with the truth of it, that, oh, you put in Virgo energy. That's how we get the one pentacle. We did the inner work in our Virgo nature, which is to go within. Look at those things we want to keep buried under the surface, and we bring them to the light. And maybe if we kind of looked at some of that past pain and heartbreak in our life, and we looked at it now, that now we're not a child, or there's been some distance and some time, and we kind of look at it now, maybe we would kind of look at it differently. Because if some of those things did happen when we were a child, well, we're not a child anymore. But we could have a wounded inner child. Well, we also look at life differently now that we're an adult. We've kind of had to go through some of these similar life experiences, and we had the free will to work with our past pain and heartbreak and fears and insecurities. And we were dealing with other people who were adults. And some of those people, when we were children, didn't work with some of those issues. And so they never, are we going to repeat the same pattern? And that's how we kind of look at things differently, where it's like, we kind of see where we can all let these issues from our past keep making us act a certain way. But we dealt with other people in our life who they did that. We don't really like it, but then we're not wanting to see the truth that I can't change those people. The only person I can change is me. I can keep letting those things break my heart, or I can choose to say, I see where I could have kind of acted in those ways in my life as I've been growing up, and where maybe I'm maybe a little more stubborn, or I'm a little more competitive, or because I'm more invested in the world and focused on these things, that, when we're children, we're quite egocentric, and then we can want to blame everyone for the rest of our life. That, well, I would be this type of person, I'd be that type of person, and it's all their fault. Well, when does it quit being those people's fault? I mean, they have to take accountability for their actions, but I have the free will within myself to work through it. And it's like, I'm not going to let that keep me in shadowy energy. I'm going to work through it, see the truth of it. If they were unjust, unfair, immature, prideful, egotistical, stubborn, more caught up in themselves, I can relate because I have went through things like that within myself. And of course, it always makes me think of people who went through atrocious things. And, you probably didn't do atrocious things. And hopefully none of you went through atrocious things. But if you did, it doesn't have anything, it's not a reflection of your worth and value, because everyone had free will to work together with people. Free, because again, shadowy Capricorns represented by the devil, not being manipulative, controlling, hurtful, prideful, stubborn, abusive. And they didn't choose that. And you see the truth of it. So there's some people you are moving away from. They might not know that you have detached from a foundation with them, is what the Tower card can be. Some shadowy people can be where they try to manipulate people. I'm not going to work with you cooperatively. I bet you'll be stuck. I bet you'll be heartbroken. I bet you'll be conflicted. Yeah, when some people acted like that, were you in that energy? Yeah. I don't understand why you're acting like that. Well, you do this work, but people have free will. Not everybody, depending on how people acted, the more shadowy they acted, the more you see you're shadowy. It has to be more about you, or you're more caught up in these other things. Okay. That's kind of what's consuming you right now. All right. Um, Other people, they just weren't on the same page. But some people don't realize that some of those people in your life, um, you saw the truth, that they are very maybe stubborn, prideful, hurtful, competitive, not just, not fair, defensive, more want to be able to juggle and want people to indulge them in their two-facedness or their juggling. And you don't have an interest in being in a relationship with those people. They just don't know it. They see you moving forward, but some of those people think, oh, no, no, no. If I wanted to come back and get in a relationship with them, as some of these other things that I went invested in didn't work out, I could come up and pop up in their life again. I'm sure they would want to move forward and work things out with me. But anybody can pop up in your life, and there's going to be people from your life that you already know that at different times are going to kind of pop up in your life. There's going to be people in your present, there's going to be people in your future. And I think you're just going to listen to your intuition about who's who. Who seems to want to be in friendship or relationship with me, who I think is creating an illusion, who isn't being truthful, who my intuition tells me still their truth isn't my truth. They're still more about themselves or these things of the world. That's why they want to get in a relationship, stay in a relationship. It isn't really about love. It's because maybe something else didn't work out, but they really are more aligned with wanting to be in a relationship with people who are more about being in a relationship for these reasons of the world. And some of those people will be surprised at how you're moving forward in your life, maintaining balance within yourself, how, I think that, loving energy chooses to be in loving energy. I can treat other people in a just and fair way in the way I like to be treated, because I don't need more chaos in my life or in the world, and I don't need to try to tear someone down to make me feel better. So you can kind of maintain balance with some people in your life. Do you want to be in a more involved relationship with some of those people? No. Do you want to reunite with some of those people? No. Can you, get along with people socially? Yeah. But, and kind of as more time goes by, is kind of what the Wheel of Fortune can talk about, that some of the people might start to realize, oh shit, I thought I was manipulating them. I thought they were stuck. I thought they were in their pride and ego and their competitive nature. And I just thought I could go invest in whatever I wanted to go invest in while they were in that energy, until I maybe decided that I was willing to try to work things out with them again. And then they find out, yeah, no, while you were doing that, I was doing this. And I don't, in the Six of Pentacles, the difference here, I don't want to exchange more time, energy, and effort with you. You are like a social acquaintance. You're in the friend zone. you know, um, I'm not interested in that, hanging out that way, being in that type of relationship, or being in relationships with people. And I've kind of already seen the truth of who you are. What's this card here? The Fool. Some people in your life too, with the Fool card not showing itself, is that you've worked through these issues. The Pentacle and the One Sword can be that you completed a cycle. There's some, you detach from some Ten of Pentacles foundation and some Ten of Swords foundation. If there was a Taurus, can represent all these different institutions of the world, workplaces, friendships, family dynamics, just all these different things that we can invest in the world, that you could have at one time, you kind of viewed some of these situations that you're involved in as being on the same page as you. And at one time you could have been. But then as time went by, when people had to listen more to their intuition and be more, maybe more motivated and inspired to be more truthful, authentic, just, fair, detached from their more defensive nature, codependent nature, being more about them nature, more about the world, that's when the difference kind of became evident. That, and sometimes we can be in friendships and relationships with people, and some of the people, everybody can kind of be sad and conflicted, and everybody kind of wishes each other peace. I want to go, I kind of want to live my life a little differently in the Fool card. And some people are like, I still want to keep living my life like this. Or you're moving, I'm not moving. I wish I could go on that journey with you. I can't. And with some people in our life, just like we have friends and family members where the way they live their life is different than the way we live our life. What they like to invest their time, energy, and effort into is different than what we do. And we can get along with them fine. It's like, hey, you go. Hey, you go. Enjoy your life. You go, girl. You go, guy. It's not a problem. We can still get along. We work with all these different people in the world. We're not all on the same page. We don't all think the same, and that's fine. But can we work together with each other, wishing each other the best? But you go on your journey, wish you good luck, hope that works out for you, but this is my truth, and this is where I'm at, and this is what I'm going to invest in. And yeah, but some high vibe people are going on a new journey. There might be some people that they could communicate with when they learn some lessons and speak their truth to some people, that I don't want to let that relationship go. And some of those people, when you tell your truth, needless, if you kind of hurt someone, which just, in life we have to make those decisions. Am I going to hang out more with these people or more with those people? Am I going to invest more time in this friendship or that friendship? Date this person, date that person, marry this person, marry that person, right? If there's some people in your life who haven't already went on a new journey with someone else that is just and fair and stable and balanced, some of those people might be willing to, because they're living their life, keeping their, balance, looking for people who are more on the same page as them. And if you were to communicate your truth with some people, some of those people could be defensive to you. Some of those people have moved on with other people. Some of those people could be defensive to you, but maybe as they work through some of their issues, like, well, did you heal and grow and mature yourself? Just like you would do if someone approached you who at one time you thought, they were stubborn or they were immature or they were, and it caused you confusion and heartbreak. You're not going to just let any old person back in your life, even if it's just a friend. They have to be willing to tell the truth. And that's when some of the people you communicate with, then they have to do this work within themselves, because there could be a part of them, because high vibe energy can be that there's people in our life that we love, whether that is your own adult child or your sibling or whoever. Do I want to invest in this person? I have some fear because of these things that could have happened in the past. Do I think they're telling the truth? And then some people might want to communicate with people. So the swords can talk about communication. The Page of Pentacles is bringing something into the 3D world to communicate, to work through these things. And I'm going to listen to my intuition. stand up for what I think is just and fair, not going to, I'm going to listen to my intuition about if I think people have really been enlightened to the truth or not. And if my intuition tells me some people are not being forthcoming, are not, you know, it's more like just something that they were in didn't work out, so now they want to come back and get in a relationship or be your friend again, is like, uh, I'm not interested. And if other people are telling the truth and they've been illuminated to the truth and you kind of feel like you're on the same page now, then, there's something you don't want to let go. And some of those people would be willing to reconnect with you. But regardless of what anyone else does or doesn't do, high vibe people in the tower are like, I'm not staying in illusion anymore. I speak my truth in love to the people in my life that I would like to get to know better. Again, the pages are like, I just want to get to know you. I want to see where you're at, where I'm at. You know, how that's the pages. I just want to get to know you, to see where we're at. And if some people are like, nope, not interested, it's like, oh, well, that's too bad. But I'm not going to let it get me up in my ego or my competitive nature. Or like, why aren't they? I'm trying to work with them in this just and fair and authentic way. It's like, I accept everybody's got free will. You do you, enjoy your life. Can I still, if you're in my workplace, get along with you, work with you if I have to? Yes. But I just am not going to stay in denial of the truth. Now it's just kind of accepting every interaction with everyone every day. People have the free will choice of how they choose to interact with people. And I'm not where before that could have been some stuff that really bothered people, like, and I think that's sometimes what shadowy people do. Oh, I think you're a loving person who believes in justice and fairness, tries to motivate and inspire other people to work together cooperatively from truth and love. Yeah, I'm going to invest in being immature and like, no, I'm not willing to do it your way. Does it bother you? Are you going to come try to get me to change and maybe put even a lot of work and effort into, it's like it gets people in their ego that other people don't work with them cooperatively, or like, why don't you like me? And and some people end up getting in relationships and marriages with people because, well, you're supposed, I don't need to fight and compete for people. You're either motivated and inspired to work together with me in truth and love, or you're not. But some people get themselves all tangled up in a relationship with people because they're trying to change them and get them to look at life differently and realize what a wonderful person they are and they should love them. And it's like, how about you accept the truth that you're a loving person? And other people, there's people in the world who don't appreciate that, and they hope you don't really value yourself enough to stand up for what you believe in, and you will keep indulging them in their shadowy ways of being. See the truth, speak the truth. I'm not doing bullshit. If you want to move forward with me, let's work together in a just and fair way. If you have issues about doing that, then let's talk about them. Why drag this on any longer? And it's hard because you can have hope and faith and believe people will change, but if they keep showing you over and over that, nope, this is how they view life, when are we going to be enlightened to the truth? And again, it's everybody has these issues within themselves that they need to work through, because we don't, we want to not do one thing and then come back and do it again, right? It's like, no, I'm going to work through these issues that could make me to work through my own issues that would draw and attract me to this, so that I'm no longer that type of person anymore. And then it is that old way of being, that old truth, that old way of living life or viewing life has to be gone. Everybody has to take responsibility, get out of more codependent energy. You have to maintain balance within yourself. You have to learn how to temper your own fears, your own insecurity, your ego. Can we work with people in our life who are loving and encouraging and supportive? Yes, but then you have to do that work within yourself, and it's not making it someone else's job. And that's what some people want, though. You indulge me, kind of be loving and encouraging and supportive, but I'm never going to put in that work and effort to work through my issues. And because you love me, you're just supposed to let me keep moving forward with you. And some people are like, I'm done. You have some growing up or maturing to do, or some shadowy ways of acting in a relationship that I don't appreciate. And I am not going to keep indulging you in that way. And I am going to pick up my investment in you. Can I see you at Christmas and wish you peace and love? And yeah, can I still be someone who, if you're a friend or family member or something, can I be a loving, encouraging person in your life? Yeah. Am I going to spend more time, energy, and effort with you? No. Because we're kind of look at life differently and conduct ourselves differently. You know, Can we get along and wish each other peace and love? Maybe, but if you think I'm going to keep indulging you in poor behavior, you're wrong. And some people are starting to get the hint. Well, if I keep doing this, then those people are going to keep doing that. If I don't like that and it makes me feel stuck, well, maybe some people would see the truth. Maybe I do need to change. Why do I act the way I act? Why do I do the things I do? And if they're willing to work through it and see the truth of it, well, then maybe things could change. What's coming up for some people who harness some high vibe Virgo energy? We never know. It is kind of taking a leap of faith that we never know when we move forward in life what's going to happen. And we never know if people are going to kind of drift their life off into the ditch. It's just that high vibe people believe in themselves enough that I can pick myself back up. I'm willing to go with the flow, get to know people. I'm going to stand up for what I think is just and fair, because eventually we're all going to find out eventually anyway. And that could have been part of the process of this journey, was to more stand up for what you think is just and fair. Because when we're younger, again, we go on these life experiences to learn these lessons to help us get more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't. And sometimes, it's really confusing, and other people, just we got all these lessons to learn. And then from the Page of Swords to the Knight of Swords, and it can be more willing, a little more clear about what your truth is and your truth isn't. And the Knight of Swords is kind of sent by the King and Queen of Swords about what my dreams are, what I think is just and fair. Or maybe before, we really didn't know that much, or we weren't really willing to communicate more when things hurt us, when things bothered us. And we've all kind of learned it's all going to come out in the wash eventually. So why not just deal with it as it comes up? You're kind of delaying the inevitable, right? And so I think they're willing to move forward with people, listening to their intuition, speaking their truth, no longer in a shadowy fool energy, willing to maintaining balance. Can I love you? Yes. Do I want to work together with you? Yes. But it has to still maintain balance and justice and fairness and love. And if not, I am willing to let people know I don't think that's just and fair. A more shadowy Taurus relationship can be, which Taurus just meaning in how they harness their Taurus energy and philosophy of life, is a kind of more codependent or transactional type relationship. Not really walking the talk from love. And some high vibe Virgos are like, no, I'm not doing that. I am not doing a more transactional relationship. I do not want to be in a more codependent relationship. I do not want you to act like my parent, and I do not want to act like your parent. And some people like playing that role in people's lives. And well, then go find other people who like that type of a relationship dynamic. I was in it. I didn't like it. I got out. And some people just want to go get in a relationship for the money or the status. Some people want to get in a relationship because they're heartbroken. You know, go find someone else to get in a relationship with for those reasons. If you want to do and take a leap of faith in love and be just and fair, then I'm your person. What's coming up that the high vibe people don't see coming? The Queen of Cups. And the reason is because of karma, which the karma card is like the judgment card. Because you were willing to call judgment on some things and hold yourself accountable, hold other people accountable, realizing that the only person you can change is you. Everyone else has the free will. If they want to keep doing this and repeating a certain pattern, they have the free will to do that. It's just that you've been there and done that and you don't want to do that anymore. You look at life differently than you used to. And you're listening to your intuition, maintaining balance within yourself. You're going on this new journey. Some other people in your life don't realize that you maybe look at life differently and are going on this new journey, but they will. As every day that they keep acting and living their life like this is another day that you're putting work and effort from love. You offered love to it because love is the answer. I have my dreams, my aspirations. I have my own level of fear and insecurities and all that just from being a human being. So does everybody else. Some people's are less than mine. Some people's are more than mine. And we're all on this journey. I wish you peace in love. You know, I had to learn my lessons. You got to go learn your lessons. And I think as you keep standing up for yourself and what you believe in and maintaining balance within yourself from love, you know, there's probably already people in your life that know that that is the type of person you are and are standing up and defending you. And there's going to be other people in life that are kind of more on the same page as you. Just like you stand up and defend their just, fair, balanced, loving nature, they stand up and defend yours. And as you move forward, there'll be other people that are more on that energy. And there's always going to be other people that are mad that you love and kind of believe in yourself because they wanted you to get back here and do the relationship this way. It's like, I didn't like that kind of relationship. You might think that's just and fair, and you might like that because that's how you view life. But I don't think that's just and fair. Or I find it more superficial and shallow, or more self-indulgence based, or ego based, or worldly based. And you're picking up and you're going to go have this new beginning. And I think judgment goes in your favor because we all go through these phases of life to learn the lesson. If we learn the lesson we were meant to learn, we get to go to the next phase of life, of the video game of life. You get to go up to the next level. New devils, new levels, new devils. And you're willing to go up there. And some other people are like, they might want to go up there, but they haven't learned the lessons they were meant to learn. And they could try to get in relationship with other people trying, just like different people will try to get in relationship with you. Other people will try to get in relationships with other people to look like, no, I don't act like that anymore. No, I don't think like that anymore. No, I've picked my investment up in that way of living life. And they try to move forward creating the illusion that they've learned those lessons, but they haven't. And eventually, some of the people in their life are going to see the truth, just like you did with people who are like that. And some of them, they could learn the lesson, but it's like, no, that foundation with me is gone, just like some people might tell you that. And they then have the choice to keep loving and believing in themselves. Some people in our life are good examples in our life. Some people are kind of bad examples in our life. And we offer love to it and we keep moving forward. And some people, oh, well, if that didn't work out, well, then I'm going to go back and do this. And I think if they go back and do that, they're going to feel stuck again. Because they're looking to other people or things in the world to be enough or be the answer. And love is the answer. But they've decided, no, maybe indulging in these things or making my life or just being in a relationship with someone who I don't think will go anywhere, just being in a relationship and having someone to be in a relationship with, that's enough. It's like, do you love them? It's like, no. It's like, really? Is that how you want to live your life? Well, what if I leave this relationship? What if I don't have another one? What if you do? And what if you don't? At least you won't be in a relationship where you feel stuck and with stubborn or prideful or bossy or controlling people. At least the people you are in relationship with and spending your time with are just and fair and loving. I'd say that's a better day. Better day than the one you had. But everyone has to decide that for themselves. What's coming up for people who might harness a more worldly, shadowy Virgo energy that they don't see coming? The Six of Cups and the Magician. Why? Because of the Ace of Pentacles. Well, some people who are kind of more tempted to want to repeat an old pattern is what the Six of Cups can talk about. Because there's things still from their past or their childhood or just the world and ego and stuff like that manipulates them. That's what they keep investing in. And the people in their life who are kind of view life that way or want to make their life about those things. Also, the Six of Cups in Scorpio, emotional water sign energy, can be that maybe they are a little more caught up in themselves or the world, and they're kind of maybe more emotionally shallow and superficial, but they hope if they offer people these things of the world that I have, like, gee, I have these things. What if I offer someone who's loving a little bit of what I have, but they're just offering something of their worldly nature. Like, I'll have sex with you. I'll get in a relationship with you. I have money, status, image, social clout, whatever. You can partake in it. You can be in a friendship with me and partake in whatever it is that I kind of get to indulge in the world or just be in a relationship with me, some of them could think. But the whole thing is, the shadowy people, it's just kind of creating the illusion that it's truth and love, but it's really repeating an old pattern. And there's something they haven't healed from. So they will be drawn and attracted to want, and they have to kind of keep repeating that pattern, that way of living life and viewing life, because they don't look at life differently. So that is their truth. There's going to be some people in their life who have wanted to work together with them, to have a new beginning with them, but probably a more deep, meaningful relationship. In high vibe Scorpio, high vibe Gemini, Virgo. And eventually the people in their life feel stuck, have been trying to help them maybe work through these issues or something to move forward with them. And eventually some of those people, I can't keep living in illusion, hoping one day you'll change. You keep showing me what your truth is every day, but I guess I haven't wanted to see the truth of it. And now I'm willing to accept the truth of it. And when the people in their life are willing to accept the truth of it, those people will reconcile themselves with this situation, to love and believe in themselves, to work through their pain, their inner conflict, to go get in relationships with people who are more on the same page as them. I'm going to quit trying to change other people. The only person I can change is me. Why am I not in relationships with people who encourage me to love and believe in myself? Was I repeating an old pattern? Was I kind of in my ego? No, 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 I don't have to change. I'll just go find someone else who has to change. Because if I'm in a relationship with someone who's more on the same page as me, I do have to maintain more balance. I'm not kind of indulging someone in poor behavior and kind of in turn indulging myself. I would have to do more equal give and take, and I would have to, hold myself accountable. Where if I'm in a relationship with someone who's more immature in some way, well then, oh, them. Yeah, you know them. Oh, yeah, and they did that. And that's where it can kind of be us being in our ego. Why am I not getting in relationships with people who maintain balance within themselves, and I maintain balance within myself, and we both choose to work together, being balanced, listening to our intuition, tempering our egoic nature, to work together in love. And some of the shadowy people are going to have some high vibe people in their life who move on from them. And the people who maybe do stay in their life, they might feel a little stuck staying in a relationship with those people, but those people are willing to stay stuck in a relationship with them. Well, I don't want to deal with my pain and heartbreak, and I don't want to take more inspired action in my life. I'm willing to stay in a relationship with you and create this illusion it's love. Me too. Okay. Well, then that's what they manifested. They manifested the illusion, they created a new beginning, but they're just repeating an old pattern. And other people really are moving forward in life differently. Some people might communicate to some people that, even that they want to keep moving forward with them, or that they were heartbroken, or that, you know, and that's where you just have to listen to your intuition. You could have more shadowy people communicate with you that they want to reinvest in you, that they were heartbroken, that they were blah, blah, blah. That's why they did what they did. If you listen to your intuition could tell you that love really isn't their truth, that they are more aligned with their competitive nature, their egoic nature, but some of the people they went to go get in a relationship with, it didn't work out. So now they're hoping that you're kind of in shadowy energy, and that, you know, maybe hide the truth and just create this illusion and get back together. Now, people have to speak the truth. People have to be willing to illuminate the truth. And there could be some people who'd like to be in a relationship with you again because the things they went and got involved in didn't work out, but they're not willing to illuminate the truth. And they know you require them to illuminate the truth. And they're like, can't we just go back and do this? Can't we not do this? Not illuminate the truth? Can't we just create an illusion? Blah, blah, blah. No. The truth sets you free. And as long as you don't want to deal with the truth or take accountability and judgment for your actions, there can be no relationship here. If you're stubborn, bossy, controlling, prideful, egotistical, immature, you have to take accountability for your actions, or I'm picking up my investment and moving on. And I'm going to go work with the people in the world who are. So there you go, Virgo. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.